Today on the channel, we fire up the old chainsaw and celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the brand new NECA Ultimate Leatherface.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another NECA Ultimate unboxing and review. And today on the channel we got the 50th anniversary of Leatherface in his latest and greatest Ultimate. But for all your NECA Ultimate needs and a whole lot more, hit up Entertainment Earth, use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10% on in-stock items, anything over $79. Does ship free, gotta get a deal out there. And I have to imagine most people, though, are currently getting this one at Walmart as this part of their new horror shipper that they seem to be rotating out throughout the year. That's where this brand new Leatherface is positioned at your local Walmart. Check it out if you're after this one. And of course, Leatherface, what can you say? Probably my favorite of the horror villains of the slasher era. I don't know how you classify that, though, because we're looking at 50th anniversary of Leatherface right here. Slasher area, primarily 78, 79 through the 80s is really what I think of. So Leatherface, of course, predates the Michael Myers of the world, the Jasons, the Freddys, the coal miner from, of course, My Bloody Valentine, for instance. Check out that review recently on the channel. So there is a predecessor right here, and I always think of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre being a bridge from the Universal-type monster movies into the slasher era. Hear me out as a guy one class away from a minor in film, of course. But you didn't get the gore that you got in later years. You didn't get a lot of the craziness stuff. Obviously, a crazy movie, a movie way ahead of its time, as we do know. But a lot of the stuff was implied in that movie, like the Universal monsters. But then you had a little bit more rough around the edges, a little bit more crazy, like the more slasher movies. So really, I always feel in my brain, that's me personally, this is the bridging the gap between eras of horror history, of course. And I've always loved Leatherface, always loved the movies going way back in the day. I even love Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, absolutely underrated movie. Check that out if you've never seen it. The only one I didn't really like was the Renee Zellweger, Matthew McConaughey one. What was that? Was that the third one, maybe? Something like that. It gets a little convoluted with a lot of Leatherface movies, but man, oh man, the original still holds up. But how's it going to hold up in a new action figures? We've had this in the past, and we'll do some comparisons later on in this video. And of course, we're going to do this video like we do all the other videos on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And like I said, 50th anniversary of this, obviously long before I was born, this did come out. But very, very cool 50th anniversary release for this one here. Makes a lot of sense. And putting two and two together, this is also the 50th anniversary of Motorhead this year as well. So man, 1974, shout out to that. Or I guess, what year are we in? What year are we in? 75, I guess it would be. So I just don't know my years. I can't count, don't know math. But 1975, 2025, do the math. There it is. How about that? But let's dive into old Leatherface right here. Look at that. Beautiful artwork, of course, from the poster there. Very, very cool. That chainsaw, oh, not just for cutting trees anymore, as we know. 50th anniversary logo up there in the top. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Who will survive and what will be left of them? America's most bizarre and brutal crimes. What happened is true. Now the motion picture that's just as real, of course. Loosely based on a true story, I think you could say on that one there. Of course, look into the lore of that if you want to. Of course, House of a Thousand Corpses, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a lot of similarities between those movies. And I guess Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, maybe a little bit more. But very cool what this inspired throughout the years in horror, as we know. Nice glamorous shot on the side, and then you got, oh, old Grandma Leatherface on the side. Of course, a cross-dresser from time to time, as we do know. Then on the back, look at that. How cool is that backing right there? Looking very nice. All the glamour shots going on. And then, of course, in true NECA fashion, you got the window box. The window, the key to the soul, of course, of the action figure. And there's old Leatherface himself getting it done. Let's get him out of the package, though. As I said, hitting stores right now. It would be cool to get some more Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff, hopefully down the road. See you later, goodbye. And there's the old plastic Leatherface prison. You got 3 heads, because 3 heads are better than 1. Looking very cool, all kinds of accessories. But I'm going to take this offline, get this out of the pack, and we'll be back talking all things Ultimate Leatherface. All right, we got old Leatherface out of the package. Let's dive in. Let's start with the accessories per the norm here. And he does have two slapping hands when the chainsaw just won't work. You're just trying to get it going. You're out of gas. Your oil's bad. Whatever it may be, you got to take it to your own hands, and you're going to take it to some slapping hands. He's going to slap you to death. That's what he's going to do there. But you also get two gripping hands right here. Obviously makes sense for all the accessories. You're going to want to grip it and rip it and probably kill with it along the way as well. And I guess let's start it off. Let's get his most iconic weapon out of the way. It is, of course, the chainsaw. Looks very similar to the chainsaw we got in the past with Leatherface. I believe that one being yellow, this one being a green color. You got a little black accents there, but then you got blood all over it. Of course, this is a chainsaw that's seen some use. He's got to repair this thing. He's got to oil it every once in a while because this thing gets used around the clock, basically, for old Leatherface. But looking nice, a nice chainsaw right here. Ready to go, ready to take on the world with this one. His most iconic weapon, and that's what I think when most people think of Leatherface, they obviously think Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. But how about we get down to some other weapons? How about a big butcher knife right here? Of course, he's ready to chop the pieces up, do whatever he needs to do. Maybe make some of that fine chili that we saw in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Shout out to that movie once again. So a big butcher knife there. Do get a little hammer here, of course, in case you need to nail somebody in the head. We know how that goes as well. So a little hammer. You do get a very crude knife here. Got an interesting handle on it, but it's a nice, sharp, little pointy knife. Just definitely definitely nightmare fuel as well. Looking good there. And, of course, you do get a spoon and, what is this, tongs? A fork? I'm not even sure what this exactly is. I guess it's a fork, kind of. Fork, tongs? Choose your own adventure, I guess. And then we do get the spoon here for the chili once again. But if you want to do grandma or the female Leatherface, you might use some of these. Maybe stirring up something. Who knows what's going on there. Then we do get that big old meat hook here. Of course, you're going to hang a cow up there. You're going to put the body up there. Maybe a pig, something like that. Or maybe your next victim. Hang him up there on the hook. Looking very good. Of course, a very memorable scene from the movie, as we do know. And then we do get the big old hammer. He'll just bang, hit you over the head with the hammer, of course, knock you out, and then have his way with you with the chainsaw, of course. So we do get a lot of variety of weapons here. Nothing as iconic, of course, as the chainsaw. I think you have to display him with the chainsaw, if you're asking me. Now, we do get a second apron for when he's in grandma mode, mom mode, whatever you want to call it, when he's cross-dressing. So we do get that. You do get a little storage here, so maybe you can stick the spoon right in here if you want to store that on the apron there, like something your grandma would have had back in the day. And most grandmas probably don't wear aprons anymore, but my grandmas did from time to time. It was always, oh, what's going on? Are we getting Rice Krispie treats today? Are we getting a nice pot roast? Who knows what we're getting? But you like one of these going on here, of course. Very grandma-like on this apron. A very stark contrast to the apron on the figure, of course. But now let's dive into the figure itself. Let's dive into all three heads. Yes, three heads are better than one for Leatherface. And this one looking pretty good. You got the tufted up hair, the messy hair. He's got business to take care of. He can't be putting a comb through that hair, but he definitely has the hair going on all over the place. You do get the mask over there. I thought for a second the mask was going to be removable. It looks like behind the mask, though, he's got some sick sideburns like a young Mike Nesmith back in the day. Shout out to Mike Nesmith, of course. But he does got the leather face going on, of course, a piece of hide. He took somebody's face and decided to wear it around. So good for him right there. You got all the stitching and all that kind of stuff. No doubt about it. Somebody hands you this head, you probably know this is Leatherface if you are just even remotely familiar with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Second Leatherface head here. Not terribly different. A little bit more emotion out of the eyes, especially. You can see the eyes very clear in the second head. He's also got a little Elvis lip up there going on as well. You can see some teeth back there. Both these heads here, not the best teeth in the world. Got a little different cuts and dings and dents in the mask here, so it definitely represents a second mask there for Leatherface. So really choose your own adventure. Which mask do you like is how it goes, and which face do you like better for old Leatherface. Third and final one is an interesting one. I don't think I'll be using this. Now, I say that we've seen a lot of these Walmart horror merchandise. You know, they have plushies, they have posters, they have all kinds of stuff in that section, and every single one has went to very deep clearance. I don't know if Leatherface is going to hang around long enough to go on clearance, but if he does, if he went down to like 15 bucks, 16 bucks, I would be interested in buying a second Leatherface just to display this head here. I do like it, but I don't like it enough to take away from the traditional Leatherface. Maybe you're in the same boat, but I do like that they gave us this. Of course, you pair it with the apron, you pair it with the spoon, maybe the butcher knife. Choose your own adventure. But very grandma-like. You got the big female mop-top hair going on there. Stitching, of course, the Leatherface face. You can tell it's old Leatherface behind there. But it does look really good and does add a little extra something different to this figure as a whole because it makes it almost feel like a totally different character. but keeping the same character at the same time, if that makes sense. But now we're diving into Leatherface himself. Looking good here, of course. He just got off a hard day's job at work. He's got a very Peter Griffin-like shirt going on there. Even got a tie going on. So, I mean, just a classy guy, really, at the end of the day, if you think it, old Leatherface. But it is a little bit dirty, of course, down in Texas. It gets hot in those Texas summers. I've been down there. And he sweated through this shirt, so it's a little yellow, little stained. Maybe needs a new shirt, or maybe at least clean it up every once in a while. You do get the apron here, so you do got both aprons. And I'm not super sure how these aprons come off. Doesn't look like they clasp anywhere. I'm guessing you take the head off and you just slide it off. Hopefully it's easy to get on and off. That would be not too fun if it takes a lot to get these back and forth, because I want to at least do them for the glamour shots at least once before I settle in on my traditional Leatherface here. But you do get his apron here, a butcher's apron, of course. You ever go to the back of a meat department at a grocery store? Maybe more so back in the day when I was a kid. But you'd see guys like this back there. They'd have blood all over their apron and stuff. They're chopping up the meat. Wild times at the grocery store. He's got blood caked in all over him there, looking very good. Short sleeve shirt on him here. He does got a friendship bracelet, so at least he's got friends out there. We do know he's got that going on. Of course, the slapping hands, we did discuss that. And then he's got just some jeans going down into his Beatle boots. It looks like the Beatles boots back in the day. Got those in black, looking nice, and then, like I said, just your regular jeans. Now, his arms going to go all the way around for us. We do get a single jointed elbow. You do get the side to side. Hands back and forth, side to side, hands removable. Head removable, back and forth, side to side. Waist articulation a little bit. Nothing to write home about, of course. Those big old Leatherface splits, you got to have them, of course, part of the Texas Olympic team, I think, back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. The gymnastics Olympics, of course. He does got interesting pants. He's got a little cut right there with a little blood showing through. Leg goes up just a little bit there. Single jointed knees, side to side. Ankles a little up and down, back and forth. Not a ton of articulation on this one. It obviously is not Spider-Man. It is Leatherface, of course. And does he fit on a ringside collectible stand using discount code Kyle to save 10%? Oh, what do you know? He's going to fit on that stand right there. But a very, very cool, fun Leatherface here. A lot to like about this one, and I think there's enough meat on the bone with this one as a whole to make people that had the past version, like myself, want to pick up a version like this. And speaking of the past version, of course, you got the original version. And now one thing you could do that is kind of a cool idea, you could make your ultimate Leatherface between these two, because I really do like the soft goods apron on this one. You could take this off, move this over here if you want to. If you like the yellow chainsaw more than the green chainsaw, you could mix and match those as well. So there is some meat on the bone if you're a customizer trying to make the perfect figure for yourself. You might be able to mix and match between these two if you want to. And heck, while you're at it, why wouldn't you grab Texas Chainsaw Massacre, old Chainsaw Charlie himself, of course, inspired a little bit around that. Very, very cool. And you could do the same thing, mix and match some of the chainsaws. You could take Chainsaw Charlie's, give it to him, back and forth. You guys get the idea right there. But a fun, fun figure, a fun, fun movie if you've never seen it. It's not for everybody, but I will tell you, both of my daughters, it is one of their absolute favorite movies. They watch this one a lot more than I'm imagining they would. I go upstairs every once in a while, they're watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm like, hey, high five, girls. Good for you guys. But it's not for everybody, like most movies out there. But I really do think this was really something that catapulted horror movies into a whole different landscape that we dived into the 80s and still even today, if you think about it a little bit here. But a very, very fun figure. Like I said, available at Walmart, all your other retailers as well if you're after this one. And I guess I'm going to ask you, are you after this one? Do you want this in your collection? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Of course, the main channel, we're chasing 50,000 subscribers, and when we get there, we got all kinds of giveaways to do. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Check out my Patreon for tons of exclusive content, early access to both channels' videos, and your best way to support the channel. You can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget Sir Paul64 on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, and now on TikTok. So for Leatherface and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 50th anniversary, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.